Hey guys, Christian here with KQ Fitness. I want to talk to a little bit more about one specific component of all the fundamental human movement patterns. So we're going to start very basic. We're going to start with the squat. Our goal today is to be able to come down into this motion right here, this movement. How do we get there? Let's walk it through the cues. Okay. First, we're going to start with feet shoulder width apart. So my feet kind of line up underneath my hips here, which is about shoulder width. And sometimes our feet point out this way, sometimes they point straight ahead. That part I don't emphasize so much as the width of your feet apart. So we're going to emphasize that more so. So feet directly underneath the hips there, that's our starting point. In terms of posture, I want to be able to create a neutral back here because you never want to load, you want to try your best to avoid loading a spine that is flexed. So spinal flexion, trying to avoid that, keeping the back neutral here. So what I want to do there is keep my chest up. So I like to tell my clients, hold your hands up here if we're not doing any body weight. So kind of, if we're doing just body weight, to mimic a goblet squat. And as you come down to your squat, you notice that your posture, your chest stays up because your posture, or your chest stays up, your posture stays up because your chest is up here. Okay, so that's the key there. Another key that can help you with that. Next thing we want to focus on is tilting of our pelvis. So it's a very subtle movement. It occurs right here above our hip flexors. Essentially, a good identifying point is you want your waistband of your shorts in the front to be lower than the waistband in the back. So you're going to tilt your hips forward there. That's going to kind of help you send those hips, those glutes behind the feet. So as I come down to my squat, notice how my glutes go behind the heels of my feet. The lower I go, the more my pelvis tilts. So that has to happen in order to keep that neutral back there, which is trying to avoid that spinal flexion in the back we talked about. So at my lowest point, you'll notice that essentially my back is kind of even parallel to my shins here. It's kind of like two straight lines right there. That's something that you do want to look for, and what can help with that is being able to tilt that pelvis, send the glutes back behind the heels. Obviously, hands in front to keep your chest up as you descend that squat down. Well, let's talk about coming up. When you come up, what you want to focus on is glute activation here. So we don't want all that motion, all that load to be entirely loaded or shifted towards the quads there. You want to balance out that tension to be able to support our posterior chain. So the lower you go, when you start to do that motion up, what should trigger is like a little glute squeeze at the bottom of your squat, the lowest part. As you bring it back up, you want to actively squeeze those glutes to the top. It just serves as a nice reminder that the glutes have to be working here in order to keep that back neutral and to kind of ease the tension, the load off of your quadriceps in the front there, your quadriceps muscles. All right, let's talk about feet really quickly. Want to have even distribution between the heels and the toes here. Not too much in the heels where you're coming back, losing your balance and falling back. And not obviously too much in the toes here on your forefoot where you're leaning forward and your posture's all wonky. So let's bring it all together. Feet shoulder width apart. Hands in front of the chest here. I tilt my pelvis so the waistband in the front of my shorts is higher than the back. So tilting that. I'm going to lower myself down. I'm going to push the inside of my knees out to be able to keep that right on top of my shoes. The lower I go, the more I tilt my pelvis. I'm going to squeeze the glutes at the bottom and start to come back up with that. And squeeze the glutes at the top. Okay, so all those cues put together will teach you how to do a proper squat.